I can't wait for y'all to see what we coming with next week. Okay, so moving on to our next topic, a different world. So for some of us, this is nostalgic for sure. On It was just a couple days ago that Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy were on the Breakfast Club, and they did an interview, and that interview was really good because they really spilled a lot of tea about the history of like behind the scenes of the show. And I mean, some of it is like things that were rumor mill speculation of what we heard over the years, but they were confirming things. One of the things, and I just have my like notes based on what I remembered from the interview. So any of you who saw the interview, definitely comment. And our wonderful moderators, Go Gadget Bridget and Alice Blessed Child of God, are both in our backstage, and they will star your comments so that um, yeah, I'll go over them once I give my 2 cent on this whole thing. But anyway, one of the things that they shared was that initially when the show started, they were making about $6,500 per week, which in TV land, because we're talking about a nationally broadcast, it was on NBC, so a major network and nationally a national show, and they were making that, and that was really not a lot of money. And we're talking about the stars of the show, with the exception of Lisa Bonet. Now, one of the things, and I didn't put this in my note, they talked about Lisa Bonet, and those of us who were fans, grew up with the show, we know that Lisa Bonet left after the first season. They were saying how it wasn't, to their knowledge, it really wasn't what we heard about Bill Cosby having an issue with her being pregnant and all of that. They said that to their knowledge, Bill Cosby was actually okay with her being pregnant and it possibly becoming a part of the storyline of a young Black lady being in college. And I mean, there are women who've had been through that. Some of you may have, of getting pregnant in college, but then having a fortitude to work through it, finish college, still, go to college and be moms and all of that. But what they were saying was that the actual network had an issue with it. The other thing that they were saying about Lisa Bonet was that she was very disrespected on the show by those in leadership, in the sense of, they were saying they would be in her face, like pointing at her, like, you need to do your lines like this, or you gonna do this, or you gonna do that. And I was like, what? Like, she was supposed to be the star of the show. And so it was more of those combinations, like they were saying, it just was not a good environment for her. It was a very toxic environment for Lisa Bonet. And that had a lot, well, on top of her then getting pregnant, was had a lot to do with why she left the show. Not so much of what we heard, which was Bill Cosby was the reason she left, blah, blah, blah. So that was very interesting. They were also talking about how they were the second highest rated show next to the Cosby Show during that time. And then after them, Cheers would come on. And they were saying that they were actually rated higher in the ratings than Cheers. But the people on Cheers, the cast of Cheers, actually made more money than them. And Kadeem was saying that he found out that the disparity between the two shows, or the pay in the two shows, when he happened to be doing some kind of project, and he was, I think he said White Man Can't Jump, maybe. It was Kadeem in that, I can't remember, but he may have said that. But whatever, he was on a project with Woody Harrelson. I actually pulled up his picture for those of you who don't know who Woody Harrelson is. This is a more current picture of him, but he was on Cheers. He wasn't his name Woody on Cheers. Um, he he was on Cheers, and so him and Kadeem ended up having conversations. And he said in one of those conversations, he was talking with Woody, and Woody was telling him how much he made on the show on Cheers. And he was like, it was so much more money than they made. On top of that, Woody had all of these fringe benefits that they didn't have as well. He said Woody was telling him he had an assistant that was paid for by the network and everything. So of course, when it was time for them to re-up on their contracts, he said that he and Jasmine Guy because they were the stars. Basically, after Lisa left, it kind of the storyline moved more towards their characters and their love story, and so they held out at a certain point so that they could get more money. And he said that he did get basically the same amount that Woody was getting, that Woody had told him he was getting. I'm sure by then Woody probably had got even more. And they like, oh, we'll give you that because we giving him more now anyway. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know. So that was interesting. And um, what else? Let's see. I'm looking at my notes, y'all. I feel like I'm doing the court recaps again. Like I gotta check my notes before I get to talking too much. Jasmine Guy was expressing how she felt that it was racial. She talked about how the higher ups didn't respect the show, and really they wanted the show to be more lighthearted. They didn't want it to be topical. They didn't want them doing the serious topics they did, like apartheid and HIV, or uh, topics that would be related to Black people in college. One episode she said that they nixed was, remember they had I think her name is Marissa Tomei, and this just came to mind, so I didn't think to pull her picture up. But she was on the show, and so she was the only white character on the show. And one of them brought up, I don't know if it was her or so, I forgot who she said. One of the cast members wrote an episode and pitched it to them, to the writers, and the episode was about them having like a dance or something, and the white girl wanting to go to a dance with a Black guy, whatever, and the Black guy was like, I don't mess with white girls like that. And so the purpose was to really talk more about the white experience on an all Black camp, or primarily Black campus, like white people who go to HBU HBUCs, and um and so they were saying it got nixed because they were like, we're not touching anything that has to do with white people, and like basically we're just covering y'all, but all we really want from y'all is this love story and the ish and giggles. We don't want no serious topics. So they were saying that during the first season, they said it didn't look like the show was going anywhere. And I'm giving y'all the whole damn interview. I'm giving y'all the whole damn interview, but definitely watch it on the Breakfast Club, because I'm not doing it justice still. But Jasmine was saying she tried to quit the show after the first season because it was so poor. It was so poorly. It was bad. It was bad to them, and they was just like, "This is garbage. I don't want. I don't want to go down with this ship." And so Jasmine tried to quit, but her contract made it where she couldn't. And she was saying that they both were saying the saving grace of the show was when Debbie Allen came in during the second season as the executive producer, and they said the vibe that we got from the show, where we actually were learning things and it was serious topics and all of that as well, or really kind of pointing to a true Black experience in college, was because of Debbie Allen. They said that when she first came on board, one of the first things that she did was she had all of the castmates write like a 2 to 3 page um, narrative or essay on who they were and who their character was and where they saw their character going. So basically them tapping into their character. So they got a they got a college homework assignment about their character. And so she was just really invested. So they said all of those real tough shows that we saw, they said Debbie Allen fought like tooth and nail to even get those in, but there were so many more that they just wouldn't let them cover because they don't look like us, they don't act like us, they don't get us. And so the higher ups were nixing all of that. Let's see what else. What I got. And yeah, I only got a couple more things. So the thing that I loved about it was you really got to see. I know I've seen Jasmine Guy in other interviews, but it's something about when the Breakfast Club interviews people. It's very much like we homeboys, we homegirl, like we get it, we get each other. I see you, you see me, and it was very, very conversational. And I felt like I got a really good vibe for Jasmine Guy and who she was, and she seems so cool. Like I really, after watching, I just wanted more of her. She's really down to earth, and she was saying she's from Atlanta, Georgia. For those of you who don't know, So she just really gave you that vibe, like you just want to sit at a kitchen table and talk to her for hours. Like she was funny. She was like just keeping it real. She didn't care. It was really cool. The other thing that I don't know if I just forgot it, and you guys let me know if you knew. But Kadeem Hardison and Cree Summers, who were both characters, dated. And I'm like, did I forget that? Because not until they mentioned it in the interview was I like, oh, really? So but and they were in a long-term relationship as well. So I think the reason that Kadeem and Jasmine were doing this whole press tour, because they've been on a couple things I've seen, or interviews and stuff, was because they were on TV1's Uncensored on September 24th. They did a marathon of A Different World, and they were basically doing commentary. Unfortunately, I missed it. I didn't even know about it. And those of you who are in the VIP community know why I missed it. And it was more important. But anyway, let's go and see what you good people are talking about.
Hey, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your